We're here at Anime Los Angeles and across from Landon, aka 1/5 of Lethal Soul.
Yeah, 1/5.
Yeah.
I'm the creator of Lethal Soul. We're a sketch comedy group on YouTube.
If you guys haven't seen them, we go way back. He's actually one of the reasons why I got into Jojo's Bizarre Adventure.
Aw.
See, you see it? Oh no! Oh shit! Which I'm really thankful for. Back in the day at Anime.
It's almost like prison. It's like, how'd you guys meet? We're like, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Oh, okay.
Definitely. I just wanted to tell a little bit about like his background and kind of what he's pursuing on the side. If you guys aren't familiar, he's actually big into the b-boy scene. A b-boy is basically anyone who's doing like breakdancing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. One of the reasons that brings us together is, of course, cosplay. It's also keeping a healthy lifestyle. I noticed that anyone who's like catching up on your stories and posts, what role does staying active play in your life?
In my life, like I'm definitely like an amateur b-boy or like amateur fitness, but I think it's very important to incorporate it. Like what's that one, Socrates, he has like a quote, it's kind of like exaggerated and a little too serious, but he says like, no one has the right to be an amateur in regards to their body. Every person should try to like, I forget what it is exactly. So, you know, like I try to know a little bit about music and art and, you know, pop culture and fitness and my health. It's just something that I think, you know, as a person, I just need to try to work on it to some degree in order to just be healthy all around.
The way I see it is definitely getting the most out of life and shortcomings that you might have, and in order to get, you know, the best experience.
Yeah, and I'm still a pretty young person.
Yeah.
I think before when I was working out or I started to b-boy, I think like, oh, this is going to be cool, right? I'm going to be a cool person, but honestly, like I'm getting a little older, and it just like makes me feel better.
Yeah.
To be healthy. So now I'm still pretty young, but I'm kind of having the mindset where I'm like trying to buffer for my old age. You know, try to get as healthy as I can now in order to maintain like for longevity's sake.
I know that you also studied in the medical field. Did any of that shock you at first? To like, oh man, I need to like actually pay attention to this, or?
Yeah, well, I studied biology at UCLA, so I worked at like a free clinic in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little jarring to see like when I worked at the clinic, for example, people come in and you know, you think of movies and stuff you see online, but then when I was young, these things are kind of like not really within my sphere of reality. But as I get older and the more things I see, like, oh man, that person like is really sick, and I can kind of relate that more to my life. I have like, whether it's injuries or my family members or they get sick or they pass on or something, that I sort of am able to connect the dots between like my own health and what I see. So like studying biology and working at that clinic definitely had a big part to do for sure. So.
Definitely. How did you develop the desire to incorporate strenuous activity in your life? Was there any like person in particular or something that you experienced?
Yeah, well, so with Bboying, for example, because I think that's like the main physical like health activity that I like to do.
Yeah.
I watched this documentary about Bboying, about the Battle of the Year, which is like this really big, I think like it was the most mainstream, biggest b-boying competition.
Okay.
And that's when I was a kid, and I just remember thinking like, oh man, that's really cool. So I see that, and I started to do it myself. And you meet like one person, right? That, oh, I'm a b-boy too.
Yeah.
And he takes you to like the session somewhere, and you meet other people, and then you realize, oh, this is a community. I get it. Like, it was my first exposure to. Like, for example, here, there's a cosplay community. You see people you know, you talk about what you're working on, you work on your cosplay, and you can show it to people. It was the first time I experienced that, where it's like, oh, I can work on something kind of like in tangent with other people, and we can kind of be peers in this, and it's like, it's fun, it's working out too, kind of this holistic experience that I thought like I can really get a part of this.
What is your thought behind sharing your personal process on your social outlets for documenting, or is it something else? Some of the reason.
Probably when I was younger, probably just showing off, right?
Okay.
Like, of course, I'm still like an amateur, but when you're young, you post something you're like, yeah, like check that out. But that's now I think I do it I've been b-boying on and off for like years, and now I don't really. I was just talking about community, but I don't really hang out with a lot of b-boys anymore. I don't really work out with other people that often, and you know, you get older, you get busier and stuff. You get into the gym or whatever when you can, and it helps. I guess, put simply, it's motivation.
Yeah.
Right. Because when I post it, I don't really. I might post something like, "Hey, I'm working on my flare," and you know, like. I notice my technique is like this, and I'll write a little blurb, and I don't expect most of my followers to even know like that's what it is, like a flare and all the little technicalities, but it's sort of like for myself. But it's like when you go to a dance session, or let's say you're working out with someone, you know, just you're not doing something together, but just having that person there, you know, you feel better, you feel more energized, you feel more motivated. And so when I don't have that, posting it to social media is kind of my way to like have that pseudo like, you know, person there. And you know, they're not really talking to me or interacting like in the moment, but I kind of feel like someone is there with me when I'm doing it. So, and it's mentally, especially when you need to go like every day or almost every day, and sometimes you don't really feel like it, it really helps kind of boost your spirit up, in my opinion anyway. So.
Giving a hypothetical scenario, say like an admirer follows you on creative outlets, gets to meet you in person, and they ask you for advice in achieving a goal, what would you tell them?
Advice in achieving a goal. I guess generally, I think, and I've only just begun to apply this to myself, but I think consistency is like the most important thing. And you could apply it to literally any type of goal, artistic, career-wise, or anything. You just, like b-boying, for example, if I'm trying to do a move, me versus the other guy, of course, you know, there's like talent, I guess. I don't really like that word, but all these other factors. But the person who does it more often is probably going to be better at it. And I do YouTube too, for example. It's just like the more videos I make, the better I'll get at it. The more I study, you know, the better I'll do on my tests and stuff. So I think just do it as much as you can. You know, don't go overboard. You know, I know some people that kind of prioritize differently, like especially with b-boying. There's some people that like, you know, I gotta go as much as possible. You gotta take a break every now and then, but try to do it as often as you can. I think
definitely consistency. It's like the whole Rock Lee approach.
Yeah,
definitely.
Or One Punch Man, you know, every day. Yeah, it doesn't seem like much, but if you do it every day, hey, maybe it'll work out. So
yeah, definitely save on the electrical bill by not having AC. How do you feel you want others to perceive you as? What is your desired public identity?
Public identity, probably as just an artist, just as someone who's working on something, or whether I share cosplay or a clip of me dancing or like a drawing or something, just someone who's making something, you know, because I think that's like we're here at a cosplay convention, and you know, whether I go to like a dance session or something, that's what gets me excited, is like, oh, that's what you're working on, like tell me more about that, and I tell you what I'm working on, and it's kind of like, so probably as an artist.
As an artist, I can definitely agree to that. It was something that I wasn't sure and I wasn't confident in expressing myself as, because whenever you say like you're an artist, like what tangible thing and what does that equate to as far as like a monetary like exchange? It's always like hard to accept that. Whereas I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an aspiring like automotive technician, or like, you know, it's always like, well, what are you gonna do with that? You know, it's hard. It's hard to like, but I appreciate that, you know, you're representing, you know, that type of identity.
I get what you're saying too, because when I want people to know me as an artist, like I kind of want it to be that way, like just an artist. I think it's interesting how the term artist has been used like in the mainstream. When you're talking to someone, they're like, oh, this artist. It's always like, this artist, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, someone who's a little bit full of themselves.
You almost feel bad calling yourself like, oh, I'm an artiste or something.
Yeah, having that declaration, that self-declaration is kind of like hard to swallow. But yeah, I would like to identify myself as a storyteller, someone to. I really don't find myself being an artist, because there are a lot more people talented than me.
I get how that personally can like make you feel that way.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, I can't really say anything because I feel the same way too. You know, there are like artists out there doing big things and stuff, and then you feel like the small fish in the pond, you know. But what I did was I stopped calling myself like aspiring. I used to do that, you know, I'm an aspiring YouTuber, I'm an aspiring this, because like you gotta take the first step, be like, I'm this. You know, where I can go from there, you know, is to be seen, but I at least have to like tell myself that, because you know who else is going to. So
right. That's very good advice. Hearing that from someone else, you know, not necessarily like validates it, because you know, but it makes it feel comforting to know that, you know, other people are going through the same thing that you know I am. The experience that you're trying to maintain health is kind of like a solitary experience, trying to be healthy.
Yeah.
What do you feel should be done to reinforce a positive shared experience in maintaining good health?
It's like I mentioned before about like going to like a dance session with other people or the cosplay community. I think that's one of the big things, is to find other people, not big social media stars with like millions of followers and like your favorite YouTuber, but just like a peer, like someone you know that you can do things with. I think that is if we all did a little more of that, I think we would kind of lift each other up.
Being present and being available to support one another.
Yeah,
more or less.
Definitely.
Okay, definitely. My final question: how do I be more like you?
How do you be more like me? Man, honestly, you prioritize very poorly, I think. And because I think I've managed to get pretty lucky, to be honest. And I wouldn't have been in this situation to have taken advantage of that luck if I didn't kind of take a risk here and there.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and actually, when I think of like, again, I'm still young. I don't have like many big regrets or anything Shakespearean like that. But I think about times where I do have like a regret. It's I played it safe. Played it safe. You look at these social media stars and stuff, and I think people would say like play it safe. I think that's the advice you'd hear most. But I think it's nice. I think I wish someone said to me, you know, do the risky thing, right? But you always hear play it safe, or do the thing that sounds more comforting.
Right.
And again, it's like how could they have known? I can't expect them to give me the right advice. But I do wish every now and then I heard like, you know, I think just like stick to it. I think you could do well. Just like, you know, it might be a little scary, but just keep at it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I tell someone, like, as long as you're not trying to do something too crazy, go for it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do the Shia LaBeouf. It's 5 years later, 2020.
Yep.
And you know, the advice still, you know, holds strong.
Yep.
All right. Thank you again, Landon.
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
it. Make sure to check out Lethal Soul 1/5. Go see them all, and make sure you support artists. We're all here just
Support
trying
artists.
to do stuff.
I like that. Support the artists.
Yeah.
And this is a new segment I'm making in service of tracking my progression and my fitness goals. Consider free thinking fitness videos as a way to have a workout buddy to talk about motivation, exploring ways to make exercise interesting, occasionally sharing some thoughts on common interests within anime, gaming, and other media. I'm the Abandoned Hero. Explore your true potential and be the hero of your own story.
Alright, the Shia LaBeouf thing, I don't know about you guys, but I watched it. I actually, I got motivated. I was like, you know, it was like a joke, but I was like, oh my god, what am I doing with my life? That one part where he says, yesterday you said tomorrow, I was like, oh. It's deep, it's deep.